Hi, I'm the Artie Dans from Asian Film Fans, and welcome to this review of the 2023 Zhang Yimou epic, Full River Red. First, let's check out what the film's about. Set during the Song Dynasty, particularly around 1100 AD, this is a fictional retelling of an investigation of a murder that occurs at the residence of Prime Minister Xing Hui of a delegate from the Jin clan. A lowly guard is given free rein, but only 2 hours, to solve the mystery alongside another more senior soldier. During their investigation, they uncover a complex tale of secrets and conspiracies, leading to a grand finale that involves the reciting of the famous Chinese poem, Full River Red. So in typical Yimou fashion, you get entertained and you get a history lesson. For me, the history lesson was knowing that Full River Red was actually a famous Chinese poem. Now, yeah, laugh all you want. Look at him, doesn't know anything about Chinese history. Yeah, that's fine. I'll openly admit that I do not know a hell of a lot about it. And that's why watching these movies is great. Now, it's not historically accurate. There's no sense of this being accurate. And there's even a message at the start. It's a fictional retelling or a fictional telling of a story. And also discovering for myself that Xing Hui was actually quite a hated, loathsome character in Chinese history. And in this movie, he comes across as a bit of a buffoon. But it's good to know that Full River Red is actually based on something that's real. Now, there's a lot going on in this movie. There's a lot to keep track of. There are a lot of characters. And a lot of characters kind of float in and float out of the storyline. There's no dual converging storylines that happen at the same time. There's one storyline, which is Shen and Jackson Yee's character investigating the murder of this delegate. And that's what we follow all throughout the 2.5 hours of this movie, just with all these other side characters coming in, coming out at various points. Great thing about this movie is how it's presented. Now, it comes across as an opera, and it feels very much like an opera. And what I mean by that is that you've got very overdone performances, a little bit borderlining on the melodramatic. So, for example, when a character dies, it's not just a simple death. There is an exaggeration in a lot of the actions that happen, but it's not to the movie's detriment, and it's not because of bad directing or bad acting. It's part of the element of the movie. It is an opera of a comedy, mystery, thriller. And the closest thing I can think of is something like Knives Out, which is a mystery thriller that adds a lot of comedy to it. And this is the same. Probably not as funny as that, but if you're thinking, oh yeah, what's a comedy mystery thriller? That's kind of the same vein. What we get is the opera music. And it's a modern fusion style of opera music. It's very loud. And it's used specifically throughout the movie to highlight when something's about to happen to a character. So watch out for it. Every time you hear the music, something will happen to a particular character. Now, the other thing that Yimou has done with the film is use color. He's always used color, and he's always used his cinematographer to great effect. In this movie, we've got two very distinct color tones. We have the blue, which is used at the nighttime, but it's also used to represent scenes of investigation. Then we flip to yellow, and they're the daytime scenes, but they're the revelation scenes. So this is where the truth of the movie starts to come out. And it's a big shift. You will all of a sudden see the movie go from blue to yellow. And that's when you know the movie's taking its turn. Now, what we get with this film is very, very solid performances. Shen is one of my favorite Chinese actors, and he is brilliant. Now, a lot of people will think about him as a comedy actor, and he brings across that comedy in this film. His face cannot lie. He is purely a comedy actor, and we get that here. And what he gets a chance to do is actually hold a whole movie. So the last couple of Shen movies, he's had like bit parts. Yeah, think about his role in Hi Mum. It was a couple of scenes. Lobster Cop, he had one scene. Even when he's in those anthologies like My People, My Homeland, it's a small scene in it. It's not a Shen movie. This is a Shen movie with Jackson Yee, with Jiayin does a great role as the Prime Minister, the sick Prime Minister. And of course, on top of it, you've got Zhang Yimou's new it girl, who's not a girl, Zhang Yi. Now, I say he's an it girl because he's been in a lot of Yimou's last couple of movies. A lot of his last couple of movies. He's been a few of his last couple of movies. Cliff Walkers, 1 Second, Snipers. I'm starting to think that he's the new Gong Li of Zhang Yimou films. 2 more movies, you essentially are a Gong Li, Zhang Yi, so watch out for that. Also worth noting, a bit of history for you. A bit of trivia for you, I should say. This is China's top movie of 2023. This has beaten out The Wandering Earth 2, and this was one of the 3 big movies of the Chinese New Year period. It was this, it was Hidden Blade, and it was The Wandering Earth 2. Of those 3 movies, this is definitely the best one of them. Wandering Earth 2 was fantastic, and Hidden Blade, in my opinion, was rather average. So if you've got a chance to only watch one of the 3 movies, my recommendation is that you definitely watch Full River Red first, and then hunt down The Wandering Earth 2. So on top of learning about the poem of Full River Red, I actually learned another thing about this film. That was about sign language. I thought the sign language scenes were out of place. And I don't know why. Maybe I just thought, well, there's no way they had sign language 1,000 years ago. It's a very naive thought. I know that. But doing some research came to the conclusion that there was sign language in the Song Dynasty. So I did like that little addition that Yimou's added 2 characters that use sign language. They are the Prime Minister's kind of female bodyguards and female assassins. They're actually really interesting characters who don't say a word throughout the whole film. This is a very entertaining movie. It is 2.5 hours long, so it does require a little bit of a commitment from you. But it is one that will reward you at the end. You are given a great movie. It might not be the easiest ending to follow. There might be a couple of little bits that you think, oh, that kind of doesn't make sense, or I kind of don't remember that bit. But it is an entertaining film. Another takeaway I'm getting from Yimou's later movies, it seems to be taking the piss out of something. And while it is a nice comedy thriller movie, there's definitely, to me anyway, elements of Yimou taking the piss out of governments and officials about investigations and just about how people go about their everyday lives. We've seen it in a lot of Yimou's last couple of movies where he has sly little digs at the Chinese government, and I think this movie is no different. I'm still impressed that he gets away with it, and I love the fact that he does. And this is what makes an upcoming Yimou movie so exciting to watch. Is that you want to know how he's going to get away with something where on the same token, everyone thinks he's kowtowing down to the Chinese government with these movies that he makes. He doesn't. He's definitely very much his own filmmaker, and he's very much keeping to who he is. So if I was to give this movie a rating, it would be 4 stars out of 5. I really do think it was that good. You get quite a lot with this film. That means I rate it just above The Wandering Earth 2, which was a bit of a controversial rating when I gave it. But if you've seen Full River Red, I'd be interested to know what you think of it. I received a comment on a trailer that we posted about someone claimed that there was a bit of whitewashing of the atrocities of Xing Hui, the character. And I don't think this movie was ever going to try and portray him as the super horrible warlord that he was. I think this movie was definitely going for the fact that it was trying to make fun of him, trying to call him a bit of an idiot, while still acknowledging that he was clever and was able to, that he was still able to be rather crafty and cunning. He doesn't come across as the greatest character ever. And again, another link back to Shadow is his use of the double. So again, another nice little Yimou link to a previous movie. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, because I would be interested and I will read all the comments. Press like if you enjoyed my review or agreed with me. Subscribe for more Asian film fans video reviews. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time in our next movie review.